Hello and welcome to Relax Radio's Mindset Monday with myself, Caroline Ainslie. And if you have ever feel, oh, I wish I could do better, I wish I could be more successful, what tricks in the trade, what tools can I use, how can I get more done, how can I have more of a growth mindset, a positive mindset? Well, today we have Ayisha de Lanerolle with us, who is let's get it right, practical philosopher. She does practical philosophy conversation, where we are on the street. Right, let me just actually, technology. Right, here we go. If I guess, right, Ayisha is here with us, and we're going to do our jingle. Hello, we're going to do our jingle, Ayisha, and then we'll be right back. And so, yes, so because Ayisha has her own special brand, her own special way of solving life's problems, of looking at life's problems. You'll find out more. Stay with us and the thing is, such exciting things. She's involved in art. She's involved in, well, I want her to come on board as a consultant for our Bubbly Maths, because the ideas that she comes up with to help children learn, to help children become thinking for themselves, it's a completely different view on a growth mindset. And please join us for the full hour as Ayisha shares her wisdom with us. So I'm going to now find the jingle. I have a growth mindset. I can do it. I'm nearly 59 years old and I can do this. Learn something new every day. See you after the break.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Mindset Monday with Ayisha de Lanerolle. Now I've known Ayisha almost all of my life. I have a confession time. Ayisha and I are cousins. So she's known me her whole life and I've known her almost all of my life. And she never ceases to amaze me. So this is a Mindset Monday that's going to be worth listening to throughout. You will discover things about yourself, about life, about the world through Ayisha's eyes, and it's definitely worth playing with us. Now, I've got Ayisha's bio in her words, and then I will keep beefing her up throughout, because in my words, Ayisha is like one of the most amazing people. Ayisha says, I started to see the potential in thinking in conversation with others when I moved from academic philosophical studies to a training in practical philosophy. If we can find freedom in the uncertainty that lies at the heart of all our lives, we also find the confidence to explore and play with different perspectives. In 2010, I set up the Conversation Agency. There is a link in the description for this, for people of all ages, backgrounds, and disciplines to engage together in the conversations that shape our lives. I work in different settings and have held residencies in the Mansions of the Future in Lincoln and the Turner Prize 2019. Sorry, Mansions of the Future, Lincoln, and Turner Prize 2019. I'm not sure if they're three or two. I think they're two places. But the Turner Prize was the one that really blew my mind. Ayisha, she'll tell us all about it. The other one was fantastic. She had a whole year of philosopher in residence. And with the Turner Prize of 2019, she played a big part in the audience participation, and I have attended her. Right, I'll finish this first. The Turner Contemporary in Margate. I know she's been working there for many years, where I have co-created the gallery's approach to visitor engagement. So what she does works really well for visitor engagement, and she can create that in any area, which is why I want her as part of Bubbly Maths as a consultant to create learner engagement in the activities. And I think she has a huge role to play in schools. I think any school that's having difficulty with learner engagement, Ayisha would be a great person for you to bring in as a consultant. So welcome, Ayisha. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us today on this lovely snowy day. Now you're in Wales. Is it snowing in Wales?
It's not snowy in Wales. Isn't that so? Such a strange thing, because everyone thinks, oh yeah, we're all in the same mood because the weather is like that, and yet actually on Zoom we're all in different weathers.
Yeah.
But we might be still in the same mood. but I have some blue sky, which is really nice. We're not in the rain at the moment, which is perfect.
I've got no blue sky.
For a while.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, you did choose to live in the valleys, well, sort of. You are in the valleys, and it rains in the valleys. So,
Yeah.
but I've got grey sky and white floor, white ground. So it's beautiful. It's very stimulating. So thank you so much for joining us, Ayisha. First of all, I've introduced you in your own words, but if you'd like to just say a few words, if you'd like to, whatever you can think of to introduce yourself and what it is you would like to share, just the essence of what you'd like to share today to give people an idea.
Well, it's my Positive Mindset Monday. So I've just been thinking about how, I try to bring a positive mindset and then, but personally as well as in my work, because I think, what I do in my personal approach to living and weather and mood, all things are very relevant for my professional life as well, and vice versa. I learn a lot from people that I work with. So I was just really kind of tying the two up, not giving a toolkit, because that's not. I think it's really like how do things relate to me as well. That's what I've been thinking about, and I'd like to share some things from that. I don't know. Well, anyway, so it's just they're just a few insights, I suppose. We'll see.
Well, one of the things in life that I look forward to is time with Ayisha, because it is seriously, because you're never short of a topic of interesting conversation, much like your mother. We're going to start with a little bit about your past, and with your past, it sounds awful, doesn't it? about your background, I suppose, because the two of us, we share one set of grandparents, and Ayisha's mother was very. I'm going to let you give a brief history of your mum and dad, so that people have an idea. Do you want to, or do you want me to? Do you want to give me my perspective?
No, I didn't. It's your perspective.
My perspective as a fan of Ayisha de Lanerolle. Okay, in a nutshell, her dad was an architect from Sri Lanka, what was then Ceylon, and her mum was an anti-apartheid activist in South Africa, and both of them ended up in London. I think, was your dad also exiled from what was then Ceylon? Not at the time, but either way, they were both political activists, and they both ended up in London, both still supporting their cause from London. And this is what Ayisha and her brother were born into, and this is what I was brought up with, because of course my dad, being your mum's brother, was also, he wasn't an activist he was very much in his words, he was. And when he went back to South Africa years later, he was an activist in that he promoted jobs and equality for all. And So this is my background. This is my belief that this is how I was raised myself, and Ayisha was much more in it than I was, because her parents were both proper activists, I suppose you would say, and your mum was a really big thinker, and she was the editor of the Women's Press, and she
was the director.
That's right, the director of Women's Press. Now, Women's Press published a lot of books by women from Africa, and it was specifically for female authors. And Ayisha you helped, was it proofread, or was it the work that you did with the women? You didn't do any reading for Women's Press?
I would just get, a bit of work in the mail room every now and then.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you actually did some reading for them too. No, yeah, there you go. See, complete misinformation in my head.
You promoted me.
I've promoted you. Yes, you were a reader for Women's Press. You got to say as a teenager whether or not your mum should publish a book or not. So you're like, look at this one, mum. So, the thing is that Ayisha was brought up in this very where thoughts were really important, a place where words were taken very seriously, and philosophizing was done constantly. It wasn't something, oh, well, let's talk about philosophy. It was part of the way your mother was, wasn't it? And I have to say this about your dad, and this is that of all my uncles, and I only have one male, actual blood male uncle, he was the one uncle that made me feel absolutely categorically, I knew 100% that he loved me. There was something so special about your dad. And so, yeah, that I just had to say, just put it out there. Ayisha de Lanerolle, love him. So that's kind of where your roots are for me. That's kind of why you're such a deep thing, apart from the DNA aspect of it.
It's funny because actually I didn't. You asked for some stories from my past, and one of them is, I think I was probably about 8 and at primary school, and the deputy head started these thinking lessons, and I remember some of my friends loved them, but I remember very strongly thinking, I've got no idea what is going on here, and I concluded that I couldn't think. And so actually I wasn't it came to me a lot later, through a kind of route where I had to find a different mindset, had to kind of, before I found thoughts as my kind of material that I wanted to do some work in. And in fact though, but now when I do kind of work with any ages, I do sometimes, because I think people get scared of the word philosophy, but I sometimes tell people, not remind them because they weren't there, they don't remember. I tell them that once upon a time I was thinking that I couldn't think, but that actually doesn't make any sense because I was thinking that I couldn't think. So I use it as an example of the fact that it would be very useful to look at our logic, because in that situation, my logic was contradicting itself. I'm saying I think that I can't think, but I was already thinking. So there was something. I think if I could
by thinking you can't think, you're thinking.
Exactly, I was already thinking, so I could think, but there was something else that needed investigating for me to find out why I found it so difficult. And then actually, only 2 years ago, I found out that I had an assessment through a college I was working at, and I have a degree of dyslexia, and it's auditory dyslexia. So it's when I hear, I can often mishear things. So that made a lot of sense to me. Maybe that's part of the reason in those lessons where he was very much live thinking through things, and I was getting confused for whatever reason. And And it also made huge sense of my historical difficulties with exams, which I absolutely hated and always did very badly in, and got very kind of over anxious around. So I think that probably the dyslexia had a lot to do with that. But then as well, that's a mindset thing, because, you know, some people said, don't do that assessment, because if you find out you do have it, you'll feel bad and you'll lose confidence. And I did listen to people who said that, but I decided to go with the guy who'd actually encouraged me, because he was someone who'd found out late in life that he had dyslexia, and it's really kind of kind of validated some of the difficulties he's had.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
But I see both sides. But I think that's one of the things I do have to bring a deliberate, conscious way of thinking to.
It's interesting. I didn't know there was such a thing as audio, or whatever. What did you call it? The hearing dyslexia, auditory. Because it's obviously a family trait, because I have to repeat things. Sometimes it'll take me a while to respond, because I have to repeat something several times in order to be sure I've heard it. And it just, my brain goes through, freezes, and then I have to literally play the words back like a tape recorder back in my head several times. But I think, okay, no, I think I've got it now. Is it this? and the words can get transposed and all kinds of things as well.
Well, I think that maybe, but I think in practical philosophy, which is something you can do at any age from 3 or 4.
Oh my goodness.
It makes a advantage of the fact that you stop and question, that you slow down. So with people like who have dyslexia of some kind, often it does slow you down. And actually in philosophizing, that's really key and really valuable. And even though it's not very comfortable to be questioning your own perceptions, which is what philosophy is also about, it also kind of is very rewarding, because it means that if you're checking them with other people, because there's one thing which is me and my perceptions, and then there's, well, actually Caroline might not see it in the same way anyway, dyslexia or no dyslexia, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, not everyone knows. We are very unique. You can't be very unique. We are unique.
And you'll find this in Ayisha's conversation sessions, that it's just such an amazing facilitator, that you actually get to hear, not just hear sounds, not just hear words. You actually, the way that she facilitates conversations between I haven't witnessed it with teenagers, admittedly, but it works at any age. I know it does, because I've witnessed it with adults. And I know she's told me lots about the work you do with children, don't you? And the thing is, it literally, without any conflict, without anything, you are encouraged in such a beautiful way to just hear what everybody has to say. Aisha knows how to A, facilitate it, but B, ask the right questions. We're going to go for a break, Ayisha. So after the break, yeah, I know, we're going to have the lovely jingle again, Ayisha. Just to let you know, I have sent you the link on WhatsApp. I know a link that will definitely work for your friend if you want to check on that during the break. And after the break, we are going to maybe you can talk to us about how you do the practical philosophy, perhaps, how that works.
We could maybe even have the video. What do you think?
Have we got a video?
The one from YouTube.
Send me the link. I missed that. Send me the link. I'll see you after the break. Send me it on WhatsApp.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Relax Radio, and this is all about Mindset Monday. Now, Mindset Monday is about having a positive mindset. It's about having a growth mindset, and my cousin has set me a challenge. Oh my goodness. Which I hadn't realized. She actually wanted me to play this link. The link is in the description. So we don't know how this is going to, I don't know how this is going to work. We're going to start off with this video. We may as well bite the bullet. Now, I keep saying I'm nearly 59. I'll be 59 in just less than 2 weeks. And I am very proud of the fact that I keep learning every day. And that is actually one of the keys. I say never say never, don't they? But it's not a matter of, oh my goodness, I can't do that. It's never, I can't do that. It's always, how can I do that? Or I can't do that yet. Those are my mind. They didn't come up with the yet, but I've got not my mentor, the person I follow on this. Now, what have we got? 2 minutes. Now, let's see. I've got to share my screen. I can do this. I can do this. I've not done this before, and I don't know how it's going to come out. So I hope it's comes out well. Oh no! Yeah, thank you, Ayisha. You're very kind. What it's not allowing me to do is to make it full screen prior to. So I'm going to go to StreamYard. I'm going to share screen. What I have discovered is the better way to do this is to actually upload the video. Ooh. Oh, crikey. I hope this is going to work. Share. It's not. Oh, activate it. Share. Here we go. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. That's not very good. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen.
You need to be on a different screen.
Yeah, but it doesn't give me any options to go, what if I do this?
Maybe you just need to upload it on your...
Yeah, but I have to download it then. I didn't.
Oh, there it is.
Does it work? Does it look okay?
Yeah.
Look okay? Good.
Yeah.
It's going. Here we go.
We don't have any sound.
Oh, crikey.
Stop it and put the
Is it,
sound
can you
on.
hear it? Ayisha, can you hear it?
No.
Okay, I've unplugged that. Let me tell you if you can hear it now. Wait. Now. No?
Is Einstein.
Oh, yeah.
There is a profile.
Okay,
And
right.
there's the
inverted. I don't know how this is coming
I've got
out.
this little example of a sort of
That's fine.
optical illusion here. So if you photograph it in the right way, as you're about to see, the eye plays extraordinary tricks on you. So there it is. It's Einstein. There he is in profile.
Wow.
And there's the inverted bit. But hello. Your eye tells you that's poking outwards. And yet it isn't. That's the inside bit. And your eye refuses to believe it until you get to that.
That's good. Oh, you're twisting my melon, man.
Isn't that well, it does that because your brain is programmed to recognize human faces. And it's one of the first things babies do is look at faces. And you expect to see a face. And even though you know it isn't a real face, your brain fills in the...
There it again.
It's an astonishing
And
illusion.
does this, Stephen, does it only work with Einstein? Will it work with another man?
It will work with any human. It's really creepy. It's amazing, isn't it?
But it's done it. I can't believe it did the same trick twice.
I know, the point is...
Listen, we're not going to fall for it this time.
And yet...
No way, not 3 times on the road.
Outside. This is going to be inside, ladies.
Inside.
It's so clever.
He's so clever.
It is literally, we literally filmed this. I mean, you can see, that's all it is.
This is a great trick. I might cut my head in half and scoop out my brain.
It's a wonderful thing. It would make the most wonderful blancmange or something, wouldn't it?
Are we going to bother with the rest of the show? Because I could happily just...
What?
I mean, it's lovely chatting.
No, that's it.
Love what we do, but let's just...
You're hypnotised.
Have you got any others about mine?
No, I tell you what we can do. We can make the Queen happy or sad.
Oh.
We've got a £5 note. You can do this with your own £5 notes, but we'll give you the demonstration.
Okay.
There it is. You do a little fold.
Oh dear. Right. That's that.
Okay, now I'm going to work out how to get out of here. Hold on 1 second.
Well done, Caroline.
well done you. Oh my goodness. Okay. How did it come through? Did it come out okay? Your end?
It was absolutely fine. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, we've got money talk on the background. We don't want money talk on the background. That's not what we're not money talk. We're, if anything, let's put this on the background. Sorry, right? It's all, it's all live here on.
Oh, I see. Money talk.
Radio.
That's right. I didn't even
That's
know.
not us.
I can notice my face is very, very red for some reason. Is it something to do with the camera?
I don't know. It does look red. Have you been in this? Oh no, that's not us. We don't want that.
There's no sun. I've just been in the rain.
Right, that won't work at all. Right, so background. Oh, I know, it's the background. Hold on one. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're gonna have that one. There we go, because we are.
Oh, I like that.
We are, yeah, me too.
Well, and they're probably completely Eurocentric maps.
Oh,
where
yeah.
The UK or Europe, well, because they're old, so there'll be the empire maps, which is quite interesting in itself, but it's also about illusions. So the reason that video was on because it's an illusion.
And that's very okay. So tell us about the illusion, if you clearly know it, about the 2D map.
Yeah, because even though they were told this is an illusion, we keep seeing the illusion. And they were going, will it happen the third time? Because I know now. And it still tricks us, and that's our brain. So when we perceive things, that's not like raw, it's not direct, our experience. We're already interpreting loads of stuff from our kind of physiology, how our bodies are made, but also from how we learn about the world around us from the moment we arrive. So because, like they said, because we always see faces that stick out, we just jump. It's like a real shortcut. We jump to all faces stick out, even that one which didn't stick out. I've actually got one of those Einstein, but unfortunately he's in storage at the moment, so I couldn't bring him with me.
You put Einstein in storage, Ayisha.
I've got Einstein. I have got Einstein, the blancmange. I've got the blancmange mold in my storage. I should bring him out. Pink blancmange. That would be really horrible. Anyway.
Oh no, not pink. At least we did black or something, grey, or I don't know what, but not pink.
But so the point is that all of our experiences is already, we're already getting in there and going, basing it on our past experience. We're reading our present.
So preconceptions.
Some people say we're almost seeing the past, and sometimes that's exactly what happens. And I suppose philosophizing, the whole reason to do it is to sometimes review those fixed perceptions and review our fixed opinions, revisit them, but with other people especially, it's really valuable. On your own is great, have philosophical conversations with yourself.
Right, but the sort of me having a philosophical conversation with myself wouldn't go very far, because I would just, without being facilitated or without having powerful questions, I would just go around in circles and just pretty much stick with what I already believe.
Well, maybe not, but it's much easier and more enjoyable to do it with other people, because you get their perceptions, their experience. And sometimes I've been in inquiries and I'm like, wow, I never imagined that before. So someone's just said that that's what they see, or even like, people have sensory differences. So some people are synesthetics. It's called synesthesia, where you might see a number as a color.
Okay, yes, I'm familiar with that. Yes.
So some people see the number 4 as blue, and the number 2 as pink, or and Nabokov, the writer, I think he saw the number 4 as purple, and really bizarrely, his parents were synesthetic too. I don't know if that's the way it usually is passed on,
Mm.
if it is passed on. But his dad saw the number 4 as blue and his mum as red, and the mixed is purple. So, I mean, that's quite bizarre.
What did he see? What did he see it as?
Number blue as purple.
He saw, so he really did mix his mums and
Yeah,
dads
so
and
they
the colours up.
were a colour palette, the 3 of them. I don't know if that's very usual, but, you know, Kandinsky, the artist, if he heard music, colours became more vibrant, and he would use music while he was painting, and you can see his colours and his shapes kind of dance because they're animated for him, you know, and he conveys that. So, you know, but we only know these things if people tell us. And if we ask questions. So if you're slowing down and you're going, hang on a minute, is that what someone else sees? Or am I really seeing that? What, you know, what is it out there? You can compare notes with other people and begin to sort of understand why you're even seeing things differently. And sometimes you said at one point in the introduction, we'll be looking through Ayisha's eyes. And I thought, yeah, well, that's actually what we do a lot of times. So when I work in the gallery, that's what we do, is we look through each other's eyes.
I think what I'd love to do, because we were late for the previous break, so now it's a short thing to this break.
Okay.
But what I'd love to do is for you to tell us about how you facilitated both your resident philosopher, which I love that title, and how you facilitate bringing the what do you call it? Not engagement. What do you call it?
I think it was engagement.
Was it engagement?
It was engagement. Yeah.
Getting the audience to be thinking rather than just
engagement. Yeah.
Visitor engagement. That's it. So if you can tell us
what galleries use. Yeah.
I'd love to hear those stories after the break, and it is definitely worth hearing. Please stay with us and join us after the break. And I will find this is oh dear, technical. I am an electronic engineer. I am extremely technically minded. And unless you give me a mouse, and then it all goes to pot. Okay, here we go. Found it. After the break, we're going to find out all about the resident philosopher and the audience engagement in the Turner Gallery with the Turner Prize, no less.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Relax Radio Mindset Monday, and today we are looking at it from, I was going to say, almost a technical point of view. We're looking at practical philosophy, thank you, and the conversation. Rachel just sent me the message by ESP, and how actual techniques really of how to view things differently and how to be very, very aware how everybody views things from a different point of view according to their own experience. So living your thoughts through your own past. And Ayisha's career has taken her to two of, for me, the most, when she told me about both of them, I got excited about one, and then the second one I was super excited. She's been a practical philosopher in residence. I've heard of an artist in residence, or a poet in residence, a philosopher in residence, and also audience engagement, visitor engagement with the Turner Prize exhibition, among other things. So please tell us how the story, the evolution of this.
Do you mean what the residencies involved?
I'd like to know I don't know. I think it's an interesting story, and how you became
Okay.
philosopher in residence,
Yeah.
and what organisation that was. So
Well,
I know it's in
think
Lincoln.
it starts really when I was studying. So what you asked, going back to one of the stories that you asked me for, many years ago, I saw a television program. At the time, I was an administrator for Amnesty International. And I saw a program, and it had, one of the episodes was Socrates for 6-year-olds. So there were 6-year-old children philosophizing in a circle with Dr. Catherine McCall, who's from Glasgow. And then another episode had a kind of war zone, what had been a war zone school in Chicago, and it had a young guy who was doing practical philosophy with some teenagers, and they were bored, and they were rocking on their chairs, and they were like, "Who are you? What are you telling us? We're not interested." It was really cringe making. It was so painful because this guy was trying really hard. And then gradually you saw them begin to engage because the guy was opening the floor for them to get involved with thinking about what's right, what's wrong, what's justice. You know, are people equal, or are they, should some people have more? And they began to get animated, and I was watching this, and I felt really excited and went, wow, I want to do that. So it took me a while, it took me about 3 years, but I did go to study that with Dr. McCall in Glasgow. And when I was there in the second year of studying that course, we did a conference, and there was this wonderful woman from Barcelona who's a curator, an art curator and a practical philosopher. And she had trained philosophy guides in the gallery, part of the gallery that was for young people. They actually kind of made it for young people, and they commissioned artworks, and it was really about involving young people in thinking about the world and themselves and the art through the art. So I asked her, you know, how did you do that? I was really excited. And she just said, just go away and do it. She didn't have a system. She just said, do it. So some years later, I wrote to the Turner Contemporary Gallery in Margate and suggested that I train young people to have conversations around the art. So that's what we did. And we did that for 5 years with teenagers. And that was, we would do role play. We'd have some of them being the artist, someone being the visitor, someone being in the work. You know, we played around. That's what we did. And I'd work with an artist, and then maybe they'd do work with some materials that was all mirrored. And so then it was like playing with the idea of mirror, looking in a mirror, but also reflecting in our ideas. So there was lots of that. It was really fun. It was great fun for all of us, actually. And there was even one young guy who came back twice, 2 years running, because he'd loved it so much, which is, I don't know how I persuaded him to do that. You weren't meant to do that. But I think, you know, in that one, we had an inquiry. So literally sitting in a circle with a certain amount of rules, a key one being that you can agree or disagree with something that's been said, and that what is being said doesn't belong to anyone. So when you agree or disagree, you're not agreeing or disagreeing with an individual, you're agreeing or disagreeing with the idea. And if you have that,
take away, there's no personal, there's absolutely nothing personal in your conversations. It's incredible.
And you can begin to move and go, oh, I'm going to try this idea then. I don't believe it, but I'm going to, you know, I'm going to try and think it through with other people. So it's a very kind of free.
Yeah, taking on somebody else's idea and seeing how it floats your boat, or how it floats for you.
Yeah, and whether you come up to a like, oh no, hang on, but what if then, you know, you kind of go, oh, that doesn't make sense because, and then someone else might go, I disagree because, and you begin your thinking expands. And you might change your mind. or someone else might change their mind, and that's of value. So it's very much a kind of space. And so then, so that young guy came back again for the second year. It was the one that had really got his imagination, because I could see him thinking it through. It was, are we all the same? Or could we be the same? I was around that. That was the question they were working on. And he was taking it so far that he was imagining giving birth to himself.
Oh my goodness.
If we were all the same, then we'd all be able to give birth. And then he would actually give birth to himself. So their faces were like, oh my, they all just exploded because they were carrying it through to its logical extreme. And it was really, it was like a sci-fi book, actually, or film. But I think that, is that you're free to do that in that space. But so the rest of the time, we were always trying to find different ways to kind of bring that sense of freedom and experimentation and expanding into different ways of working. So even if it was a one-to-one conversation. So the staff there were never, well, they might have some information to give, but they would always kind of put it in little bits and go, oh, what if I told you that? Does it make you see something different? It's not like this is what it is. So it's very much about how you share information and the space you give people to think without being told.
With the conversation that I did with you, we all had to read full excerpt, and then we found out what everyone's thoughts were about it, and it's like no two people had the same thought. It's that they talk about looking at a fire. You can have 20 people sitting looking at a fire and not saying a word, and if you then ask what everyone was thinking, they'll have different. Everyone's thinking something different, but also they could be interpreting the fire in different ways. Some people might have different beliefs about fire and or see stories in the fire, and it's like everybody is thinking something different. Well, obviously everyone's thinking something different.
That's a great example, actually, sitting around a fire. So you might be seeing something different, and then I think a big part of it is what are people bringing to it. So, we all bring our perceptions and our experience, but we also need to get beyond them sometimes, because we couldn't experience everything in the world. We have to trust some things because we can't have gone through everything. And even if we have, can we trust our experience? So it's very much about...
So our perception of our experience is only limited by our experience, our experience prior to that.
Yeah, exactly. So we always need to be talking to people, but there's often not space because we're meant to know things, and adults often think that kids expect answers and information, but sometimes they do, but sometimes they want. I mean, the reason that practical philosophy or philosophy for children started up as a thing originally was a guy called Matthew Lipman in America, and his kids, he saw his very inquiring, curious kids when they went to school begin to lose that and just be told, no, it's like this, this is like this, and that's right, that's wrong, and that is this, and they were not inquiring anymore. So he started to bring philosophy to children, to help give them a space where they actually could have some freedom. And I think that when some of the kids that we've worked with at the gallery, when they've gone home to their parents, they've had some really amazing conversations, and the parents have really seen a change in them because they want, and that relationship of being able to have a philosophical conversation with your child is a whole nother area that some people haven't enjoyed before, but it's really powerful. I think it's really fun.
I was going to say, you're labeling it philosophy, but the thing is, it's, and one could think, depending on one's experience, that, okay, well, this is going to be a very highbrow conversation or something. But the thing is that what you're doing is, and your business is called the Conversation Agency. What you're doing is you're opening up a conversation. So you can take, if you just actually remove the word philosophy, if anyone's being limited by that word, I think calling your business the Conversation Agency is such a brilliant reframe, because that's what you're doing. And you've talked about how it started, but you yourself do that. And if anybody's listening, if you want to open up the inquiring mind, you want to re-trigger curiosity in children or adults, contact Ayisha de Lanerolle. She knows how to do it. She could do it for you. Do it. Go for it.
Well, I just facilitate, don't I? I sometimes joke that I'm content free, because really I bring a process and my own interest and curiosity, but to allow people to see what to play around with ideas, I think.
Well,
but I
that's
do
it's content free. Therefore, you can go into any situation because it's content free. So it's not relevant to any particular industry. It is simply relevant to communication and keeping that ability to learn, that wanting to learn, that hunger for learning and learning and thinking about new things. And that is the key to a growth mindset. That is absolutely the key to a growth mindset. So we've got to have a break, Ayisha. Yeah, and after the break, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about how you've applied your work to COVID, how your COVID changes, which is online, obviously. And also, we've got some of the questions. We're not going to pounce all of them on you, but some of those questions will come up after the break. So we're going to find out how Ayisha took the Conversation Agency online in COVID, and also just a few more insights in a broader sense, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, a few more insights after the break. Please join us for the last stretch, the home stretch of the Mindset Monday with Ayisha de Lanerolle.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us here 24 hours and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Mindset Monday with Caroline Ainslie on Relax Radio with our guest today, Ayisha de Lanerolle. And have you seen the label I've given you? The label I'm labeling you now, Ayisha. Practical philosophy in conversation. Do you agree with that, or do you need me to change it? I can change it. I've got the power. Just putting you on the spot, rebranding yourself right here on the spot.
I'm not great at deciding instantly.
Will it do?
Yeah, so.
Does it cover the essence?
Does it? Yes, yeah. Philosophizing in conversation maybe would be better.
Philosophizing. I might come up with something else to get your see what happens. See what I come up with in the next 15 minutes. Well, 11 minutes. 11 minutes left, and we have to leave at 59.
Okay.
And we'll have another conversation another time, because I have to go straight from there into Happy Massal. Come join us for Happy Massal, ladies and gentlemen, after this in 10 minutes, in 11 minutes. So you really do have the ability to generate curiosity, which is one of the biggest problems with anyone that's stuck, whether it be a student in school or a professional in a corporate. Losing your curiosity, and it's happened to me, I would actually say is about the biggest problem. When you get depressed, you lose your curiosity. I mean, it's like it puts up a huge barrier. Now, COVID came along, and we've all had some people have just kind of given up, and some of us have gone online. What did you do? Because before that, you were facilitating in person, in museum, groups, in circles. Everything you were doing was very much face to face.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
So, well, you know, some of that work disappeared. All of the face to face disappeared. So yes, moving online, onto Zoom, trying to find ways to keep the pace, the energy up, so it kind of exercises and stuff in between, maybe some music. But so thinking about all of those ways that we, you know, things we would bring to a room, how we bring it to the screen. It's been very interesting. You know, some of the groups that I've worked with have been in the first lockdown isolated. You know, they were older generation and they weren't allowed to see their grandchildren and they had no physical contact with anyone. So that was really interesting, getting to know how it works through the screen. And our brains apparently are quite fooled by seeing faces, even if it's through the screen. So in fact, there's a lot you can do, a lot of communication, it seems, through the screen, more than people think. I mean, I really will never prefer it, but which some people do. Quite a few people I've met that really love working online. But so, you know, it's been a real intense learning curve. And also, of course, George Floyd was murdered and we had the big Black Lives Matter protest. So, you know, one of the projects I was working on, of course, those things in the real world came right into our Zoom room. So that's the reality. And, you know, it feels like it's separate, but it's not. And that was very interesting and a challenge, but really, really powerful that we brought things in and allowed space for people to talk about issues that were connected. And I think there was a lot of emotional trauma when COVID hit. And I think that, you know, the things I've read about it being collective trauma and grief, collective grief. So I think we, you know, when working online, we've been thinking a lot about how to, people talk about holding space and you have to hold a space. So that there's a lot around self-care. How do people take care of themselves? And I think, you know, the philosophizing does fit in that, but also a lot of physical things to look after your nervous system and to calm down, breathing to calm down the anxiety, things like that.
And you're very knowledgeable about diet and breathing, and you are compared with myself, Ayisha.
Well, maybe, but I think this is a time that feels more important than ever for people to find ways to connect with their body.
The point is that you've practiced that yourself for years.
The thing is that I've had asthma since I was 2, so it's not that I've practiced it, it's that I've split my mind and body. So in order to reconnect them, that's what I've been working on. And I think the circumstances we're all in has meant that all the things that I've found out before but not been using.
Right. So where I was going with that is that when you're facilitating a group, and I hadn't thought about groups of isolated people, that what you do can really help bring them together and feel not alone, even in a Zoom room. But you've also got that physical essence where you can add the awareness of body, not just not all going on in their head. You can bring that in, and I hadn't thought of that. And that's another magical thing, bringing isolated people together through Zoom using your conversations. I think that's wonderful. We've got 6 minutes left.
Right.
I had a few of those.
Are you thinking about those questions?
Yes, well, I had you can choose which one you want to go with. Have you got them in front of you? I can start. I've got them
Sorry,
here.
I'm just looking down here. So
you go for the one that you prefer. Go on.
So what you asked, what is your definition of success?
Yes, I love that one. I'm getting some great answers.
You can guess that I don't have one definition of success. That's usually that has been one of the questions in one of our inquiries in the past. So I was saying, at the moment, it's reconnecting with my body, listening to what my body's telling me more. So I think that's what I'd lost. And the more I do go, oh, it actually tells me quite a lot about what I need to do. I mean, I'm working on it. It's not a...
Okay, so how, were you successful at that? What would it look like? If you're done, you've finished, you're successful, what would it look like?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's ongoing.
That's it. I love it.
No, I think
that's
successful. That's successful in my book.
Being ongoing. In other words, growth mindset, there's always something to learn. There's always improvement. That is, Ayisha, that is the perfect answer. Because no, seriously, no, I'm not joking, because with a growth mindset, it's not like you're not aiming to complete and finish and be done. You're aiming to keep learning, keep growing. And that's actually, for this program, the perfect answer. So what else have you got?
It's a new relationship for me, because it's like, the conversation agency. Now I'm thinking I want it to be a conversation with the body as well. So that's that. And
then
I
thought about that. We've got 3 minutes. Go ahead. No pressure.
You asked about what else do you want the listeners to know about your work?
Yes. Tell us anything you want to talk
about.
I
just wanted to say that, one, to realize that we all philosophize, and two, to realize that we can always improve on how we philosophize, if only finding out how someone else is, how is someone else experiencing it, seeing it, understanding it.
It's just really insightful in hearing the answers to Ayisha's neutral questions. So there's really is no negative, there's no there's no competitions in it. It's so insightful in here. Whoa, I never thought of that. Whoa, I never thought of that. Whoa, it's constant doing one of Ayisha's sessions. It's like, whoa. Sorry, go ahead.
2 minutes. And I suppose that we bring what we bring, and that's what our material to start working with. So you don't need anything other than what you bring, and that might be different on different days, and that we philosophize every day by making in our decisions that we make, but also in how we decide to lead our lives. But I think that at times of change we really need philosophizing, and so this is a very big
I'm being a bit ignorant here, I think. So basically, if somebody has this difficulty making decisions, again, practical philosophy can help with that. Yes, no?
Well, yes, because I think you could start going, you could compare different options. That's, in a way, you're putting different things in different pots. That would be philosophical in a way. It's like, that's not that. That belongs there. That belongs there. And then you compare and contrast them. And what would be that's kind of that. I mean, there's many things. There's probably lots of names for that exercise. People do it a lot. They compare and contrast lists, pros and cons. But I think that's quite a philosophical thing to do. You're distinguishing one thing from another.
So when we're weighing up our pros and cons, we're being philosophical.
Yeah.
I love it. I didn't see it. Again, it's very practical. It's practical philosophy. Hello. It's all said in the word. Brilliant. Okay, we have 0 time left. So I'm just going to say, what is your next project? What is it looking? Has COVID brought something else out? Go on. Just answer. Sorry.
I've got the next one that's actually going to be in face-to-face isn't till November, but it'll be in an art gallery, working with young people, holding conversations around the artworks with the public. So that'll be really nice to be back in a gallery. And then I'm also working with a London gallery, helping the gallery assistants, trying to connect with the work before the public come in.
Nice one. Fantastic. Well, so if you if you know a gallery, if you've got a gallery, Ayisha's your lady, and also I seriously believe we need to get this into schools, Ayisha. So it's time to go. I will speak to you soon, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Caroline. It was a pleasure. Bye.
See you all next week. Bye.
Have a good maths session.
Thank you. If I can end